Hey, this is Matt McLean, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to get started on the looping assignment. So this is a fun one that you can use Garageband or Audacity for. I recommend using Garageband just because the workflow is a little more seamless. You can use Audacity, and I have tutorials for both. I definitely recommend checking out all of the tutorials just to get a hang of different little tricks in the two different programs. You might get some different ideas. So let's jump into GarageBand first. Now, GarageBand will generally open the last file that you had open on your computer. If you don't see this screen, go to File and then Open, and it will take you to this palette of tracks or templates. So make sure you select Empty Project. It will be highlighted in blue. Choose, and you should get a screen like this. Now, the first step is to close the library with this button in the upper left-hand corner. We're not going to be using that for this assignment. Make sure that the metronome is off. It looks like this little pyramid here. You don't need that clicking annoyingly in the background. And then go over to the loop drawer, click on that, and you'll see this referential database. So all these buttons here can be used to narrow down the search to find various types of loops. You can always reset it and start again. So what I want you to do is build what I call a track stack or palette in the arrange window. This is the arrange window, this big gray area here. And the trick is to get maybe 3 drum tracks together, 1 or 2 bass tracks that work together. That can be the hardest part because the bass tends to step on other bass tracks in the mix. And then you can throw in anything else you want. You can get all sorts of wild mixes in terms of styles. So be creative and be crazy. And I'm just going to show you how to do this really quickly. So you pick drums first. Let's say I want a jazz drum beat. And then you can scroll down here and preview just by clicking on it all the various loops. So we'll click on this one. That might work. Notice that some are blue and some are green. The blue ones are audio and the green ones are MIDI. I have a separate tutorial for the MIDI files and editing MIDI files, so check that one out later. But for now, you can grab blue ones or green ones, doesn't matter, they'll all work together. So let's see, I had that one highlighted. Let's just drag it over here into the arrange window. And now I'm going to hit reset, and maybe I want a louder drum set playing in the background. So I'm going to go to all drums, and let's see, we'll do acoustic and maybe urban. So that one might work. And you drag it over here. And then to make sure that they sound good together, what you can do is turn on the loop function. Just click on the top bar here and it'll light up yellow, and you can drag from the right hand corner to change the length of your loop. I'm just going to leave it where it was here. The other thing you can do is click on these 2 arrows that are chasing each other here. This is the cycle or loop button, and notice when I hit that, this yellow bar will open up. And then I'm actually just going to stretch these loops out like this from the upper right hand corner to make them the same length, and let's just preview it. So you'll notice that one is, the timing is a little funky. I might have to put some other ones, be a little bit more selective in terms of what I throw in there. But a lot of them do work together on top of each other. And then what you do is you hit reset. You go, throw a bass line in there. I'm not even going to preview them. I'm just going to drop a bass line in and drag it out. Hit reset here. Maybe do an organ. We'll throw an organ in. And then we'll hit reset again. You can throw a banjo in there. So you can get really wild. Notice these are all green. Should probably have more audio loops. So let's see. How about a clavinet? We'll throw a clavinet in there. Now for this project, you should have a minimum of 10 different tracks that all work together. And that's sort of the magic trick that I'll get into in the other tutorials in terms of arranging these things. But for now, don't drag the tracks over here and start turning them into a song. What you want to do is focus on your little tower and make sure that all 10 tracks sound good together. I guarantee these probably won't because I didn't even listen to them first. Well, let's give it a listen and see what happens. It's going to be pretty crazy. Okay, that's pretty crazy. You can always turn that into something, but we'll call that done now. And then this is where I jump into in the next tutorial in terms of how do you turn this chaos into something cool. And you can do it if you put in a little bit of effort. And I just want to point out something with the new version of GarageBand here. You can drag these loops out from the upper right hand corner, and then here like this. And later down the line, if you want to edit them, you can move your cursor to the edit point and hit Command T, and it'll cut it. So back in the old days, versions of GarageBand didn't allow you to cut loops that had been pulled out from the right hand corner, but they've fixed that function. If you hear me talking about don't do this drag from the upper right hand corner in one of my other tutorials, don't listen to me. So now you can do this really fast, when you get into turning this into a real song. But anyway, have fun with that if you're using GarageBand. So I'm going to quit GarageBand here. Oh, one last thing. The tempo, the beats per minute is listed up here in the transport. You can speed that up or slow it down just by clicking on it and dragging up and down. You can get some pretty wild results by changing the tempo. Let's slow that, because that one sounded kind of like circus music. I'm going to slow it way down and give it a listen. So you might think, oh, that even though it didn't work at 120 beats, even though that didn't work at 120 beats a minute, well, it might work slower or super duper fast. If you want to do something that's dance music, usually 128 or 130 beats a minute is what you hear for a lot of techno stuff these days. So now I'm gonna close GarageBand and not save that. So let's load up Audacity. And you'll notice that Audacity doesn't have that really cool loop library built into it. So you have to go get loops from somewhere else. You could use GarageBand on campus and export each loop individually. You'd have to solo each track out and then export it as its own song. Or you can use a cool website such as this one. This is looperman.com. You register. Here, there are these two buttons. On mine, I'm already logged in. It says my profile, but it'll say register or login. This is a huge database. I think it's what you can see right here. It's 81,000 royalty-free loops. And that's sort of the point of this assignment, is putting music together that you don't have to pay people for. These are all free loops, and you can use them in commercials or in movies or anything that you put together, your own work. Okay, so we'll go to loops and samples, and then you can search for loops using a different type of search function here. It's not the cool buttons that come with GarageBand, but you can search from tempo or category or genre. So let's do a drum, maybe how about a techno drum track? And then I'm actually not going to search for tempo right now. Let's just hit find loops. And you'll see that there are 500 different tracks here. And they will have the beats per minute listed in the lower left-hand corner. So I'm just going to take the first one, hit download, and keep track of the beats per minute here. This will be important because you can, in Audacity, mix various tempos using a little function that'll fix that. So I'm actually going to grab this other track here right below it because it's 130 beats a minute. I'm going to download this one. And now I've got two tracks. So the top one's 128 and this one here is 130. Now I'm going to get into Audacity. And now the process is really the same as I explained it in GarageBand. You're just going to have to get 10 separate tracks that work together. Use the same process. Start with the drums, get a bass, get some other stuff. Now I'm going to drag this other one in here. Notice that they're different lengths. So the top one is 128 beats a minute. You can see it's a little longer because it's slower. And the 130 beat minute one is right here a little bit shorter. So what I want to do is make this, I want to be working at 128 beats a minute. So I'm just going to double click on the fast one here and then use my effect and then change the tempo. not the speed, but the tempo, because the speed function will actually change the pitch. So now I'm just going to go from beats a minute. So this one was 130, and I want to change it to 128. Hit OK, and notice now these are both the exact same length. And let's preview it. Here's one thing, before you even hit preview, I can see these are very loud files. You're going to want to turn them down. So make sure that you use this slider for starters and move it over to the left. Otherwise, you're going to get some distortion here in your meters at the top. So let's go back to the beginning and hit play. Okay, cool. So now you're off to the races. Up to you to build your stack and have some fun. And then in the later videos, I get into the arrangement.